Imagine stepping off a red eye at LAX and hearing nothing. No animated chatter in French, no excited Mandarin tour groups clicking selfies, not even the familiar burst of "eh?" from Canadian hockey dads corralling kids through customs. Just the clean room echo of announcements bouncing down a half-lit concourse. That hush isn't a glitch in the PA system. It's the sound of billions of dollars quietly evaporating from America's economy. In 2025, the U.S. is on track to lose an estimated $12.5 billion in foreign visitor spending, pulling total inbound receipts down to $169 billion, the weakest level since borders reopened after the pandemic. And the crowds aren't staying away because of a virus or a recession. They're boycotting the world's most famous vacation brand for reasons Washington largely wrote itself. By spring, international arrivals were sliding almost 9% year over year, even as global outbound travel hit record highs. Every lost percentage point translates into roughly $1.8 billion in export revenue. Money hotel clerks, line cooks, cabbies, and park rangers will simply never see. Rooms sit empty from Las Vegas to Flagstaff. Restaurant wait lists vanish. Broadway ushers swap full houses for half rows. And rideshare drivers log off early. Economists warned of this moment the day tariff rhetoric flared again, and fresh forecasts now tie the slowdown to an expected drop in U.S. GDP growth to about 1.4%, with core inflation nudging 4%. Trade wars, it turns out, don't just punish container ports, they suffocate arrival halls. But how does a surcharge on sheet metal or car parts scare away tourists who never plan to buy either? Follow the mood music. And Canada provides the first note. Ottawa didn't resort to fireworks or embargoes. It just whispered, "Vacation elsewhere." When Washington slapped a 25% duty on Canadian goods, provincial premiers and travel boards answered with polite but pointed advice. Spend summer money somewhere that wants you. The message stuck. Airlines report a 20% plunge in Canadian bookings. Border traffic at Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, is down nearly 30% compared with last year, leaving border town motels and diners staring at bankruptcy math. Even Canada's roadside assistance giant CEA says U.S. trip insurance sales have cratered 22%, a reversal of decades-long habit. For Detroit area outlets and Great Lakes resort towns that once relied on weekend snowbirds, that single tariff feels less like a fiscal policy and more like a neon no-vacancy sign. Only the vacancy is on the streets. Yet the chill doesn't stop at the 49th parallel. Across the Atlantic, it morphs into something more organized. Brussels has made no secret of its fury over doubled American duties on European steel and aluminum. Publicly, it drafts counter-tariffs. Privately, ministers redirect promotional budgets away from U.S. destinations and float tougher visa rules that could suspend waivers for dozens of nationalities. The consequences are already traceable in booking engines. Advance EU to U.S. flight reservations fell about 12% between January and April, while U.S. searches for European breaks jumped. Spanish travel boards shuffled millions in ad spend from Miami beach packages to Tokyo City breaks. French influencers, once paid to live stream Times Square, now hawk Cancun sunsets. Sentiment, not price, has flipped, and a single word keeps appearing in surveys: unwelcome. Across the Pacific, Beijing chose an even plainer descriptor. On April 9th, China's Culture and Tourism Ministry issued back-to-back bulletins urging citizens to exercise heightened caution when visiting the United States, citing economic tension and rising hostility. That's no small shrug. In the pre-trade war era, Chinese travelers showered US dollars $15 billion plus a year on American retail, luxury brands, and Ivy League summer programs. Now, many of those big spend itineraries sit in limbo. Agents on WeChat swap horror stories of visas denied at the gate, fueling a feedback loop of doubt. For destinations from Beverly Hills, boutiques, to Orlando outlet malls, the loss isn't only numeric. It scrambles entire inventories tailored to Mandarin-speaking high rollers. And even intrepid would-be visitors face another obstacle before they can so much as scan a passport. Log on to the State Department's wait time portal and pick almost any high-volume consulate. The earliest B1, B2 interview slot sits 3 to 10 months out. Those who endure the long haul confront stricter fingerprinting and ever-shifting entry questions. So much so that Germany and Spain now warn citizens a stamped visa does not guarantee admission. Airlines complain of passengers offloaded at the last minute because of single-page ESTA discrepancies. Even Canada has begun flagging longer secondary screenings for its nationals. A vacation decision once weighed on weather and budget. Now it includes the risk of a red ink refused across official documents. Airlines did the math early and changed their maps. Within weeks of the tariff escalations, Lufthansa, British Airways, Air France, and Iberia quietly cut summer frequency to U.S. gateways, shifting metal toward markets showing stronger rebound curves. Aircraft parts under the new duty schedule cost more. Fuel hedging is pricier amid logistic snarls, yet load factors are soft. The result, Miami loses a dozen weekly transatlantic frequencies. New York trims a bank of late-night departures. Los Angeles cedies an entire daylight slot. U.S. carriers brace for thinner international margins just as domestic travelers confront higher ticket taxes and fewer upsell perks. Those empty seats echo all the way to Main Street. Flagstaff, Arizona, base camp to the Grand Canyon, reports a 15% slide in visitor sales and is scrambling to lure domestic road trippers with 2-for-1 museum passes. In Las Vegas, European package operators cancel high roller junkets, stranding multilingual guides who once hopped nightly between roulette tables. New York souvenir kiosks shift to local commuter snacks. Broadway's matinee hustlers chase what used to be guaranteed overseas group bookings. Nationwide, the World Travel and Tourism Council warns that nearly 10% of U.S. tourism jobs may disappear this year if inbound trends don't reverse. The numbers sound abstract until you watch a motel clerk in Sault Ste. Marie hand back keys because not a single Ontario license plate rolled over the bridge that night. And the bleed out has prompted a question few thought possible a decade ago. Can the United States actually miss the global tourism train? Industry groups are begging Congress to fast-track a Tourism Recovery Act 2.0 that would shorten visa queues, launch a global Visit US campaign, and most controversially, pause the tariff volleys long enough for sentiment to thaw. Diplomats hint at a mini-deal with the EU before the next July duty deadline, though skeptics remember how quickly such truces unravel. Airlines lobby for maintenance part exemptions. Hotel chains dangle loyalty point windfalls. State tourism boards weigh subsidy packages to keep marquee festivals alive until crowds return. Yet none of those moves matter if the federal brand voice keeps sounding like a customs warning. For proof, look at the competition. France rolled out instant e-visas for high-spend travelers. Japan slashed landing fees for international carriers. Australia doubled its global ad budget with one word in every language: welcome. America, by contrast, appears to be arguing with itself at the arrivals hall. The hush in the terminal isn't just about money lost, it's about narrative seeded. For a century, the United States sold a singular travel dream: wide open roads, goofy roadside diners, skylines that make first-time visitors gasp. But dreams need invitation. If tariffs, tit-for-tat scolding, and bureaucratic mazes replace that invitation, the crowds won't protest. They'll simply book Paris, Cancun, or Kyoto instead. So here's the boarding announcement most Americans haven't heard. The world's tourism train is leaving, and the United States is sprinting toward the platform with its passports still in security. Can Washington swap bravado for bienvenue before the doors slide shut? Or will a nation built on wanderlust find itself watching pictures of its own landmarks, filmed by travelers who chose someplace else? Drop your take in the comments. Would you lift the tariffs, streamline visas, or change the tone first? And if you found this deep dive eye-opening, hit that subscribe button before the algorithm buries what could be the biggest untold economic story of 2025. The next chapter, after all, is already boarding.